Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Run.down. I'm hosting. I think I'm solo tonight. Doesn't seem like anybody else is coming. So I'm be hosting. I'm your host, Shwinny Poo. And yeah, the Knicks lose 110-99 in a game to the Warriors. I would call it an understandable loss, but one where I think Tibbs did not coach his best game. I don't think that he won the margins. I actually think he cost him the margins on the aggregate. And, would they have won the game if he made different decisions? I have no idea. I don't know. They lost the game by 11. I don't know what the line closed at. I know they opened at 4.5 to the Warriors. They're favored by 4.5. So it is what it is. But, I didn't particularly think that was a very well coached game from Tibbs. And it's to me anyway, I think it's one where I really feel like his coaching decisions put them in a deficit and they could never get out of it. And we'll talk about that. But before I do that, a few announcements. We have a great new sponsor. I love betting my friends and betting them on anything sports games. Who's Fast? That's what Cut allows me to do. The Cut app is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's legal in 40 plus states. Cut has customizable odds, tracking capabilities, and an entire social network with group chats, user profiles, and rewards. All payments, no need for Venmo. What can we bet on? Well, I might bet Cleveland first quarter spread if Tibbs comes out with the same lineup, although Cleveland's starting lineup has their own issues after they gave up 73 rebounds to their own paltry 39 yesterday in a double overtime loss to the Bulls. That is neither here nor there. Use our promo code Believe Knicks, BLEAV Knicks, for a 10% welcome deposit bonus. Don't forget that promo code. Again, that's Believe Knicks, BLEAV Knicks. Put your money where your mouth is. And of course, BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting contests and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or your mobile devices. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team and remember to use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. Again, I just did not really understand the coaching from Tibbs. I get everybody is really upset that they are even starting with the too big thing. I don't really get upset about that because I think that any lineup he puts out there has its own flaws right now. There's no well-balanced lineup. There's no perfect lineup. So I'm okay with playing it by ear or, however you want to phrase it. Like, the point is you have to be adaptable. And I can understand starting the game with the lineup he did. Maybe should have cut it faster than he did. The Knicks, they're down 14-0. I think they were down 18-4 before he really changed the lineup. And by change lineup, I mean Sims was the first sub, but I think he still had two bigs in for most of that time until he pulled Precious, and then the rest of the half they played with a single big. They closed the deficit to 9 at halftime. So I can get that. I understand that it happens and you adapt. To come out to start that second half with the same starting lineup just doesn't make any sense to me. It's not that they were just like, sure, you can look at anything and be like, well, they missed shots and the Warriors made shots. Sure. But they were not gaining any advantages. And honestly, I would say the Knicks were not creating good shots. They turned the ball over a bunch. They had some shot clock violations, if I remember correctly. They just did not get into anything offensively with that group. So to start that second half again with that lineup, I think the Warriors immediately pushed the lead back to 14. They come out of a timeout. I think out of the timeout, he had Sims and Precious in together. Warriors extend the lead to 17. They didn't extend it beyond that. The Knicks actually cut the lead to 11. And then I think he went small again, however you want to put it. But I didn't understand that. I thought that was a really bad coaching decision from Tibbs. And then I just didn't understand anything with Deuce. Deuce should have played way more tonight. This was a really good matchup for him because the Warriors, they don't play big. They generally play pretty small. Kuminga's the 4, Draymond's the starting 5. Kevon Looney barely plays anymore. So Trace Jackson Davis gets a bunch of backup 5 minutes. He's not an especially big player. They play, Podziemski and Curry are their starting guards. Neither of them is very big. Podziemski plays a bunch with Paul as well. Clay is, I guess, yeah, he's bigger, but he's not exactly like a physical force. He's not going to kill you on the glass. He's not going to, body you inside or anything like that. So that's not something you need to worry about. And Deuce's size in that case, like it's just not that big of a concern to me. And he's a much better point of attack defender than anybody else we have available right now. With OG out, obviously. And I just didn't understand playing him as little as he did. I mean, I'm going to pull up the box score here, but he didn't put him in the second half until I believe the start of the fourth quarter. Maybe he had him in for the final possession of the third. I don't know, but I didn't get that. Then he pulled him in the fourth quarter for like 3 possessions. The Warriors immediately went on a 5-0 run, and then he took Burks out to put him back in. I don't know. I don't know the exact order of operations here. All I know is that Deuce came back in after like a minute. And again, he just needed to play more tonight. He had 14 points on 8 shots, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals. He played 22 minutes tonight, which is the same as Jericho Sims, which, like, look, I know Jericho Sims had a +6, but as you will see if you're watching on YouTube, my little handle here says single game plus minus is fake. And that is why it's fake, because neither Sims nor Alec Burks were particularly good, and they both led the Knicks with a +6. Bogdanovich also had a terrible game, 0 for 7 from the field, 4 points. He was a net neutral 0. So again, single game plus minus does not tell you the whole story. Obviously, I think everybody here knows that. Deuce was a +2. I will never get that. I did not understand any part of it. And that's what it is. Like, I don't really know what else to say about it other than that. I thought it was a bad coaching decision. I thought that it cost them on the margins a bunch to start each half, especially, I mean, the first half, again, like, I can understand, hey, this is how I wanted to start the game, so I started the game this way. Fine, you adjust it. And he did adjust it in the first half eventually. That was fine. I had no problem with that. I thought, okay, cool. Maybe he learned something. Comes out in the second half of the same group, and you're again punting the first 5.5 minutes to the half before you make a sub. And the first sub again is Sims in for Hart. And that's, it's like a fucking, you give up a 5-point kind of difference right there. You're playing from a deficit the whole game because of that, right? Like, you're down 14 or whatever it was before he made a change in the first half. Then you're down 5, considering they were down 9 at the start of the second half, and then they were down 14 when he made his change. You're down 14. That's a 5-point swing there. You basically gave up a 19-point swing in the first 6 minutes of each half combined. That's the game. Like, that is the fucking game. You're just playing from a hole the entire night. And yeah, it magnifies everything else. And also because of that, you have to do weird shit with your lineups and rotations because you wanted to have both bigs out. Look, I don't think Precious had a great game. I'm not sure why he didn't. Did he even play again in the second half after he got subbed out? I'm pretty sure he didn't. I didn't get that. Like, again, I know Sims' line looks fine. I thought he was terrible defensively. He had no clue what he was doing at any point. There was actually one pick and roll where, again, I have no idea what he was doing. They got an open dunk out of it, and you could see Brunson tell him what the basically was pointing. I'm like, come up higher. Like, what are you doing? And yeah, I mean, it's what it is. Look, Jericho Sims, he's going to catch a bunch of shit from people. The guy's the 4th center for a reason. Like, I promise you, if you look around the NBA, they're not 4th centers in the league that are good. They're not good. You know why they're not good? Because they're 4th in the fucking depth chart. Like, they're not supposed to play a bunch of minutes. They're not supposed to be dependent upon the way Tibbs depended upon Sims tonight. And again, if you're out Mitch and you're out Hartenstein, I get it. I get it. But you're not. You had Hartenstein. You had Precious. And you were playing, he played small for a bunch of the game, right? He had Bogey at the 4, he had Hart at the 4. He did that for a lot of the game. So to me, there's really no reason for Sims to have gotten the minutes he got. And I think they would have benefited from Precious maybe playing more, Hart playing a little bit more. Hart, he didn't have a great game, but I also think he got kind of screwed because most of his minutes came with that 2 big lineup, and they were all over the place. They couldn't match up defensively. They didn't have any good spacing offensively. I mean, again, that starting lineup, if you got 3 guys, they're not even bothering to defend on the perimeter. Like Josh Hart, awesome, by the way, that he did shoot 3s tonight. What did he go? He went 3 of 4 or 3 of 9. Keep shooting 3s. I don't mind. You're wide open. You got to take those shots. And it's better than the 1 of 8 he shot from inside the arc. So that's fine. I'm cool with that. But he doesn't space the floor in the way that teams are not honoring his 3-point jumper. So you got Brunson basically playing in a bandbox, and DiVincenzo is getting guarded like he's, fucking prime clay, basically. And you're making it so hard on those guys. And I don't know. I have a really big, I just don't get that. I don't like it. And my biggest issue is not, again, it's one thing to start that way, to come out in the second half the way they did and start it again the same way, I just won't get. But let's get to some comments here. All right. H22, man, I'm worried now falling to the 8-9 seed looks real. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? I would doubt the 9 seed. I don't know about all that. But we won't know until we know when OG and Randall come back. And, it's worth mentioning that when those guys come back, assuming they're healthy, the Knicks kicked ass when those guys were healthy. So even if they're like 2 games back of the fucking 6 seed at that point, they could easily make that up. There's no reason they can't. We saw them have a 14-2 month, and I don't think that was just like an accident. They were awesome. H22 again says, and Tibbs isn't helping without starting lineup. Yeah, man, I agree. Look, I totally get it. Chris Burner, look, it's been a rough month, but it's been a month where everyone, for the most part, hasn't looked good. I just went through this with the Rangers. Their January have been miserable, but they started playing well in February, and all of a sudden they're fine. The Knicks have been down 3 to 5 men multiple times, and people are gassed. Let's just not all act like it's over. Yeah, in terms of being gassed, at least they have 2 days off before they play Cleveland now, so that's nice. The one thing I'll say, too, is if you just zoom out, like from when they made the trade to now, they're 18-10. So I think if I told you, forget that we saw the awesome 14-2 month, but if I told you at the time when we made that trade, hey, in the next 2 months, you're going to go 18-10, I feel like everybody would have been good with that, or whatever their record is. I think it's 18-10, 18-11, whatever. It's really good. I think most people would have been like, okay, yeah, that seems fine. It sucks right now. I get it. I just can't. I'm going to assume these guys are coming back at some point because that's been every indication, and there's no reason for me to not believe that so far. Other than Mitch, who I actually don't expect to come back, I expect Julius and OG to come back. OG obviously cleared today to start doing on-court work and shooting, which was the big, oh my God, what the hell's going on 2 days ago. So it looks like he's cleared to do that. So hopefully he's back within a week or two. That'd be fantastic because they definitely need them. Jordan Bub, do you think it's coaching loss or is it obviously on the team? Look, they're shorthanded. They don't have the firepower, and that makes it hard no matter what Tibbs does. But it also kind of makes it more important than for Tibbs to do what Tibbs, like, he can't cost you the margins that are within his control. And tonight, I think he cost them margins that were within his control. Does that make it a coaching loss or whatever? I don't know. But I really think that should have been a closer game down the stretch. And, I don't know what else to say other than that. Hawkeye 420. Yeah, Tibbs subs were buns, but we look like we never played each other at multiple points a game. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it too. Bogdanovich and Burks were awful. They gave us nothing. Jericho Sims, again, just he's a fourth center for a reason. Precious, not his best game. But again, all his minutes with that double big lineup, they all sucked. Everybody's minutes with that group sucked. And so I don't know how to evaluate that other than to say, like, yeah, those minutes sucked. But if you kind of like take those minutes out, the Knicks were good. They were fine. They outscored the Warriors in those non-double big minutes. I know basketball, you can't go back and be like, well, if all they did was not avoid the double big minutes, they would have won the game. I know that's not how it works, but I think it certainly leads to belief that they would have been closer and had a better chance of winning the game. Not from Lahuda. Warriors were constantly getting high quality 3-point looks throughout the fourth. Game was much closer than it should have been. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it too. I would also say that part of that is due to some of the lineups and rotations that are trickle-down effects of starting with the lineup he does. If you start with one big, maybe you don't need to play Sims. You can just play Precious, and you can play your smalls more minutes and evenly distribute them better. So, I mean, that's part of it too. 3 W's of our last 11. We haven't exactly faced Titans in the NBA either. Sure. All right. Jordan Bub. I mean, we got goodish injury news tonight about OG and Mitch. Yeah, I mean, that's a good one. I don't know about the Mitch. He's not doing any encore work yet, right? He's not running. I don't think they said he's not even running or jumping yet. So I'm not sure that's good news, but it's better than, I mean, I guess he's walking. So he's like able to be on his 2 feet. I guess that is good news. Good for Mitch. Look, if he gets back, that's great. It just feels like if he's not even running or jumping yet, he hasn't been on his feet effectively doing anything explosive for however long that is, like 2.5 months, maybe more. I don't know. I think that's a lot to ask of him to come back this year, get in shape, and real basketball shape, play himself into peak shape, and then be ready. Like I don't know. I think it might be his season is more or less over. John Larry, certainly not the worst loss to share, but for me, it was one of the most frustrating. Yeah, I agree. I think it was really frustrating because I thought, I forgot who, I think it was Jordan Bubb that asked earlier if I thought there was a coaching loss or a player's loss. Look, all losses to some extent are on players, but whatever their deficiencies were tonight, and there were plenty, fucking Sims, crazy defense where he has no idea what he's doing. And I thought Dante kept, and Stan Van Gundy, look, he was harping on it, but he was right to harp on it. Dante was constantly just trying to shoot the gap. He wasn't fighting over screens, staying attached. He kept trying to cheat. And that burned them actually in the fourth quarter. He tried to cheat on that one Steph Curry 3 in the corner. It was a 7-point game then. They kind of had that possession dead to rights. If he just tracks him around the screen, instead he tries to take a shortcut, gets burned, Curry wide open 3. And then honestly, that was kind of the nail in the coffin at that point. So yeah, I just, but that being said, like, I think the players played hard. I think they competed. Like Josh Hart, you couldn't ask more from that guy tonight. He had 17 rebounds or something, 18 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. He was everywhere. He competed so hard tonight. I thought Deuce played hard. I thought Brunson played hard. I think all these guys played hard. I think Jericho Sims played hard. He might have played stupid, but I don't think he didn't play hard. They gave you, like, Bogdanovich, Burks. Yeah, these guys are just what they are. But I wouldn't look at what they did tonight and be like, well, they just didn't compete tonight. No, this is what they are. And, like, you have to live with some of that stuff, especially right now with how shorthanded we are. But I don't look at this game and come away from being like, man, they just kind of mailed it in. I mean, if they really wanted to mail it in, they had the chance early in this game. They really did, because it looked like they had nothing to start this game from anybody. And they didn't. So the frustration for me, which I agree with, is the fact that, like, yeah, look, guys weren't perfect. Nobody was. Brunson didn't have a great game and whatever. You go on and on down the list. But the coach did not put them in the optimal positions to succeed. And that to me is what's frustrating, because it feels like if he had maybe done some different things, they would have had, they could have at least had a chance towards the end of that game, instead of it just being like kind of 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes of whatever garbage time. H22 first subs when we were down 14-0 was Sims. Like, Tibbs can't be serious, man. Look, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah. Jordan Bubb, obviously, Hart is playing through pain and it's affecting his game dramatically. Do you believe that the Knicks can survive until the end of March with Hart being less effective and on minutes restrictions? Yes. They cannot survive to the end of March if OG and Randall aren't back. Like, that's just how it is. So if those guys aren't back, none of this shit matters. And that's, like, people need to make peace with that. If you don't have those two guys, none of this works. None of it matters. They're not going to be good. Like, this is what they are. I think since they went down, they're now 6-8. They have a net rating, which is pretty similar to the Bulls, which, yeah, man, like, that makes sense. If you're down those two guys, this team is roughly around what the Bulls are. And the Bulls are down some players too. And, like, that's what they are with the current roster as it is. So, sure. Like, if they don't have those guys back and Hart's less effective and on a minutes restriction, no, I don't think they can survive to the end of March. But I'm assuming that OG, at the very least, will be back by then. And I do think OG is a really big difference maker for this team. Really, really big. That cannot be, like, all that Kuminga shit tonight. Get that shit out of get that all the fucking way out of here. If OG's playing for real, like, get all that fucking bullshit, all that little, mismatch hunting he was doing. Get all that bullshit out of here. He was annoying tonight. John Leary, I'm trying to just come to peace. This team will be a play-in team. Just sucks at least be a 7 seed. Yeah, I mean, maybe they'll be a play-in team. Whatever, we'll see. I just want them to be healthy. If they're healthy, I don't care where they end up in the seeding. Like, aside from, I would like to avoid Boston the first round. But if they're healthy, I think they can take anybody in the East. I think they can even take Boston. I just would not want to play Boston in the first round. I would like to avoid them if I can until the conference finals. But I think they can take anybody if they're healthy. But they're not healthy right now, and it is what it is. No more Burks and Bojan, man. I'm with you. I think you got to split those guys up. And they got look. I'm not trying to make excuses for Bojan. He has not been good. He definitely wasn't good tonight. I do think people are exaggerating how bad he's been. Like last game, what did he have? 20 on 14 shots, 5 rebounds, 4 assists or something. He had that awesome lights out game against Philly. I even thought against Detroit he was okay. He had a really bad stretch to start that fourth quarter, but he hit a big corner 3 later in that game. Like I thought he was okay in that game. He's been okay to me. Burks has been flat out just bad. But Bojan's been okay. This was a terrible game though. No doubt about it. But I think they just need to. I think it would be nice if they did a better job of getting him involved in ways that are just like he's not just a spot up shooter, and he's definitely not somebody that who they've done this now a bunch where they they gets the ball at the top of the key and then he runs a pick and roll. Like I don't want to see that shit. It's not. We should it's not a great use of him. I get that in a pinch at times. Sure, maybe you need that. But man, especially with Sims setting the screens, because he was not creating any separation for the ball handlers tonight. And also, I mean, that's because teams are blitzing and trapping. They're being really, really aggressive right now in the Knicks. But I agree with the general point here. The less Burks and Bojan together, the better. So yeah, I mean, start Bojan. I don't know. Whatever it is, I think it's time to consider hey, the Precious Hart thing was kind of working a little bit when everybody went down, but it's not working right now. And maybe try something new. I don't know. That's all I'm saying. Connor McCollum, Knicks beat, too busy pouring one out for the Pistons. Asked Tibbs why he tried out the same starting lineup. They got boat race in the first half. Hey man, I concur. Hawkeye 420. My bigger fear is the over-reliance on the start as a result. Josh Hart played 47 minutes tonight. Yeah, I mean, I agree. The Josh Hart thing is weird, but I will say this. Only 37 minutes for Brunson tonight, 36 for DiVincenzo, 26 for Precious, 20 for Hartenstein. It is possible, if we want to give Tibbs some benefit of the doubt here, it is possible that somebody in the medical, that he got an order from higher above of hey, look, you've been playing Precious 42 minutes a night. That cannot sustain. You got to find a way to cut his minutes. And maybe this was just, so that's why he played Sims a bunch. And I'm not saying there's no other ways to do it, but maybe that's what it is. Lucky Ducky. People acting like the trade was some disaster. You understand that Grimes is not moving the needle and has been bad for the Pistons side of his Super Bowl here. I agree with you. I don't think Grimes is changing the outcome of many of these games, if any of these games. He's a better defender than Bojan and Burks for sure. He's not, to me, offensively. I think I know what he is. He's young, maybe he can develop, but that wasn't going to happen here. So it is what it is. John Larry Thibodeau said he probably should have played Alec Burks more versus Golden State. He referenced Burks' recent plus minus, saying that he likes Burks' impact, even with Burks not shooting well. Cited Burks giving NYK spacing and secondary playmaking. Burks played 11 minutes tonight. Boy, oh boy. If that is his takeaway from that, wow. Well, I don't really know what to say other than that. I don't know. So I'm kind of dumbfounded by that. I'm not gonna lie. Jesus. Okay. If that is his takeaway from that, who knows? I must have been watching a completely different game because I thought Burks was fucking dog shit tonight. I thought he's terrible. And I'm not sure he gives you better. Is he actually giving you better spacing right now than Deuce McBride? And honestly, the follow-up question I would like, if there was a follow-up question, this the one I would have asked him is, well, who do you think he should have played more then? Where would his minutes have come from? That would be probably a question worth asking. Because if the answer was like, oh, maybe we could play smaller or whatever, okay, fine. Then maybe not the guy I would have chosen, but sure, go for it. But if there's one guy that needed to play more tonight, definitely wasn't Alec Burks. It was Deuce McBride. He was really good tonight. And I think he's been better than Burks since the trade. I think that he's been better probably over the course of the season. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not going to. If anybody here can vouch for however good or bad Alec Burks actually was in Detroit, let me know. Because I promise you, I was not crunching Pistons tape. But I think Deuce has been okay this year. And yeah, he has bouts of timidity with the ball. We know this. He's still developing as a playmaker, ball handler, whatever. It's not always great. It's not always pretty, but there's still upside there. And I think he competes defensively. I like the energy he brought today. And he's been a good shooter this year. I think he's probably shooting over 40% from three now, or right at 40% from three anyway. Yeah. Off-ball Burks with Brunson more, please. Yeah, I mean, that would be great. But this is kind of my point, where are those minutes coming from? And like, I think what, I'll just say what I think. I'm not going to put words in anybody's mouth. If I were to do that, I would want to downsize. So I'd want to play Hart at the 4 and one big and whatever. Those lineups have their own drawbacks too. And that's kind of why, I'm not trying to get hung up on the starting lineup. My issue is adjust to the game that's in front of you, adapt to what's unfolding in front of you. Like in that Philly game that we won, he played Deuce a bunch. They played really small in the fourth when I think the Philly cut the lead to 6, if I remember correctly, in that third or fourth quarter. And then he just played really small with Deuce, Dante, Brunson, Hart, and a single big, and it worked. It was really good. That pretty much ended the game. Obviously, that's not going to work against every team. This was a team, Golden State tonight, where that actually was a viable lineup. Those 4 guys and a big, and they were viable in both halves. So when I hear him say Alec Burks should play more, that concerns me because, shouldn't the takeaway have been Deuce tonight? Not Burks? And if he's gonna, where are those Burks minutes coming from? Because if they're coming at Deuce's expense, that's a problem. If he wants to say oh, well, I should have rested. Yeah, Hart needed a few more minutes off the floor. Yeah, I mean, he didn't even get a fucking minute off the floor. He played 47 minutes, 10 seconds tonight. So he sat for all 50 seconds, basically 2 possessions. If that's the case, then okay, I can get behind that a little bit. Again, not the guy I would have picked or really kind of singled out tonight that I should have played more, but I can understand that. But if he's talking about Deuce, that's just fucking annoying, and it's worrisome, to be honest. Yeah. Sorry, just very annoyed by that. Hawkeye 420. Boyano's been inconsistent, but he is bad when the offense doesn't make up for the defense. Yeah, I agree. His offense has to make up for his defense, and it doesn't help, as I forgot who commented earlier, but playing him and Burks together, and on top of that, you had Sims as the backup, the 5 in that lineup. Those groupings are just not going to make sense, especially against a Warriors team that's getting their shit together. This is from Judah Benchar. I apologize if I'm brutalizing that last name. Thank you for the super chat. Kudos to Hart for the insane minutes he's played. Yeah, dude, Hart was awesome tonight. He's been awesome for a while lately. But he went on some plant-based diet. I forgot who reported this a couple months ago. I don't know. Maybe put the entire fucking team on the plant-based diet as far as I'm concerned. He's been awesome lately. He's turned the season around. He did not look explosive to start the year. He looked slow. He looked lethargic. His decision-making, and look, his decision-making is always going to be roller coaster-ish, but he's really turned his season around in a lot of ways. And I know that sounds crazy because he was still really good in his on-court and on-off stuff to start the year, but I thought, just me, if anybody disagrees, feel free. I know this might surprise people, but I'm wrong very often. But I just thought that to start the year, he did not have that same oomph and impact, was not there. The guy that we saw tonight That's the guy we got. That's the guy we saw after we traded for him last year. And that's the way he's been playing lately. Which sucks that we're shorthanded because I'm positive. Like, I really think if they just had an OG back right now, they would have won at least 2 or 3 of these games that they've lost. Because what they're getting from Hart right now is exactly the guy that we traded for. And yeah. So yeah, I agree. Hart was awesome. He was great. I can't say enough about how well he played tonight and how he's played for a while now in general. Hawkeye 420 on the bench, Burks greater than on the court, Burks. Yes. Can't play Burks until our guys are back. Yeah, and at that point, I don't even know if he should play. Clyde Fraser, positive note, I'm glad Deuce got that contract. Exactly the kind of guy you want for depth when building a contender. I get he can't run an offense, but if that's his one flaw, I'll take it. Yeah, and I actually think he's done better in terms of like, I mentioned this on the pod that we dropped yesterday with Stacy, but like, I actually thought against New Orleans, he burned a couple guys off the bounce straight up. And it's just that once he gets inside, kind of like below the free throw line, his decision making and shot making in there is not great. But getting there is the first part of how you kind of start developing that. He had a nice finish tonight in the fourth quarter, I think it was, to finish over Chris Paul, or not over Chris Paul, but he got by Chris Paul and then he finished maybe over Trace Jackson Davis. It was a nice finish. And that's the stuff you want to see more of. And, I like that he's more confident now and more willing to take that mid-range pull-up. That honestly also must mean that Tibbs is giving him somewhat of a green light to take those shots, which is also a positive development. So yeah, man, I agree. I think Deuce, even if look, ultimately if that contract was signed so that he can be additional salary filler in a deal somewhere down the line, cool. But he has been a little bit of a bright spot in this stretch, and it is nice to see him kind of show more than, I can get hot from 3 for stretches. Do refs have some sort of vendetta against us? Because it's gotten worse for us after the Pistons game. Not saying something with the way we've been officiated this whole season. Look, in general, I don't actually think the Knicks got a bad whistle. But I did think, I think lately Brunson has gotten a really bad whistle. I don't know about the rest of the team, but I think Brunson especially got a bad whistle. That one play today on Dante where Dante got smacked in the face by Draymond. Personally, I think it's a foul. I kind of get why the refs didn't call it because he does block the shot. And then when he follows through, he comes down and he hits, his follow through, hits Dante in the face. I get why they didn't call it. I think it should be a foul. It's not an egregious miss to me. It's not the Zion one from the last game where he just basically clocked Hart in the face. And that was crazy for that to not to be foul. But yeah, I don't think there's a vendetta, but I do think Brunson's been he's been getting a really shit whistle lately. Started with that Houston game, which we all remember, I'm sure, but he's gotten a really shit whistle lately. And I know he went to the line 11 times against the Pistons, but even in that game, it's like the way the physicality guys are allowed to defend him with is kind of getting insane. Like, I'll put it this way. It feels like the only time he gets calls are on shooting fouls, but he's getting fouled constantly, when he's trying to get away from guys off screens and on a pick and roll, whatever. He's constantly getting held and hit and whatever. And I would like to see those fouls called and not just the ones that are when he's shooting, because those are the calls that are like when you don't make them, he doesn't get an advantage. He doesn't collapse the defense. They don't have to help off shooters and whatever. And it makes life a lot easier for them. So those are the fouls I have a really big issue with them missing. Hawkeye 420. He wants to sleep with Burks. That's the analysis of that quote, Schwed. Thank you. I don't know if I could have put that more succinctly. JL. With the team being shorthanded, the goal should be to maximize Brunson offensively. So I'd prefer Tibbs starts Boyan, but we know he won't. Yeah, I totally get this mind. I don't even necessarily disagree with this. I tend to concur, but for whatever reason, Brunson and Boyan, they don't seem to really, I don't know, they haven't meshed quite yet together. So maybe that's part of why he's hesitant to do it, but also at the same time, how are they going to mesh if you don't play them more together? That's part of it. Obviously, we know he has a fetish for rebounding and size, and that's the way he'll always kind of every coach has their own philosophical leanings. That's always going to be the way he leans, and that's just what it is. I kind of over thinking about it beyond that, but hey, man, I don't disagree with you. I appreciate the comment. John Leary, is there a worse 4-5-2 offensively impression than Sims? Sims and iHeart, maybe? No, iHeart's better than Precious. So yeah, that might be the one. Though, what was the one we ran out last year? Sims and no, that was Sims and iHeart, right? We did that too for a while. That was fun. Hawkeye 420, Deuce quickly, because that's basically who Tibbs has treated him like. Unfortunately, Deuce can't run offense like him, but the sparks off the bench is similar. Yeah, I mean, definitely not the impact quickly does. Obviously, doesn't have the trust from Tibbs that quickly had, which many of us did not feel like was enough. But yeah, it was rough. A Hart good game is morphing into Dennis Rodman. Yes. I mean, hey, he really did. That was really something tonight, man. He was everywhere. His energy was off the charts. Again, thank you for the super chat, Judah. Appreciate it. Jordan Bub, I mean, we can beat Philly twice, Hawks and Portland, start of the West Coast trip to keep it afloat. Yes. Those are the games they gotta bank those wins. That's 4. That's 4 out of their next 6. If they can bank those wins, they should be okay. They'll still be in the top 6. And those some of these teams around them are going to drop games. It's just how it'll work because teams going to play each other, and also seasons are seasons for a reason. So, yeah, let's move on. Tay 2-2. There's not enough defense on this team playing some. They're certainly not without OG. I mean, I don't. Yes, like I agree with you. They were what were they? They were like 30 at the defense for that stretch after Mitchell Robinson got hurt. When they, before they traded for OG, then they were first in defense or whatever for that month after they got OG. Like, OG is the big difference maker. Like, obviously, I mean, that's not a takeaway from Brunson and Randall. That's not what I'm saying. But he moves the needle for them in a huge way defensively. And without him, you're extending guys to do things that they shouldn't do. Like, Precious has given them everything he could give them, everything possible. But he's somebody you want to throw as kind of a complementary piece defensively, a supporting piece defensively, rather than, okay, we need you to go defend the other team's best big wing every night now, just because we don't have OG. It's tough for him. And it exposes Dante, it exposes Hart. They got to spend more time defending point of attack, which they're not great at. So I think they're okay defensively when they have OG, but without him, yeah, man, I agree. They don't have enough without him. Clyde Fraser, minute for minute, who had a better overall impact than 2022-24 Knicks, Deuce or Grimes? I'm assuming you mean from 2021, the start of that season, to now. Grimes. But Grimes took I don't know. Grimes just was not the same guy this year. And he's gone, and we don't need to worry about him anymore. Good luck to him on his endeavors on TikTok and Instagram. Dude, Jericho Sims is also just trash. Look, I agree with this. Your fourth center is supposed to be trash. That's what they are. They're supposed to be trash. And yeah, even he was supposed to be our third center, technically. But I feel pretty confident that when we're at full strength now, he'd be our fourth center. They're supposed to be trash. They're not supposed to be good. They're never going to be good. Like, the third centers for most teams, if you look at them on every roster, they're bad players. They're guys that are on minimums. Jericho Sims is basically on a minimum. So that's what he is. He's a minimum guy. If you ask him to come in at a pinch, play 20 minutes on a night, you're okay. You play him 20 minutes every night for, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, it's going to be a problem. I will say bring him off the bench. He's been better off the bench because he's not as exposed against starters. But we saw it again, right? In the fourth quarter today, once they brought their starters back in, you saw how he can't get away with making the mistakes he was against their bench. So, yeah. John Larry kind of went under the radar. It was late in the game, but the announcer said we passed on Steph in the draft. I'm like, no, we didn't. Laugh my ass off. Yeah, we did not pass on Steph Curry. There's actually one team that did pass on him twice, though, right before he was picked, and that was the Minnesota Timberwolves. So shout out to them. They deserve to get 75 number 1 picks overall because they did that stupid thing. Jordan Bub, do you think Thibodeau has a healthy roster adapted to a situation that something? I'm not sure what the question is. Would I trust him? Would I trust him with a healthy roster in the play-in, a fully healthy roster? Honestly, no, because I think if he has a fully healthy roster, which means Mitch, I am actually kind of terrified to know what his rotations would be then. I really am. In a way, we need iHeart to get back to his full strength. We need OG back. If those two are back, I think they balance out our defense in a massive way. And I think they put Precious back exactly where he's good, where he's both the backup 4 at times and the backup 5. He's a primary backup 5 and the backup 4. I think he's really good in that role, and he's proven to be really good in that role for the Knicks. If he is Mitch back, my worry is he's going to play Mitch and Hartenstein all of the center minutes. We know that'll happen. And then he'll use Precious exclusively as a backup 4, and we will be getting a 10-man rotation. That is my concern, because I don't want to do that. So, would I trust him with its fully healthy roster? No, I wouldn't. That's your if that's your question. True to venture. Pretty impressive pronunciation. Thank you. Perks of being, brown, pronouncing all kinds of Indian names all the time, as I am prone to do. The plant-based diet not working for Brunson. Is Brunson on that too? Maybe he needs to get on a different one then. Nafi Mahuda. So OG should be back within 2 weeks. Is that the realistic timeline? It feels like it. I mean, he should not have to do any conditioning shouldn't be an issue for him, right? He's not been somebody who is like sitting around. His lower body is all fine. It's just his fucking elbow. So conditioning should be fine. He just got to work on shooting and on-court stuff. So they probably want to test to make sure, get some contact. How does the elbow respond? All that type of shit. But 1-2 weeks, like I if there's a doctor in here or somebody who knows better, please let me know. But I would be surprised if it shouldn't take longer than that. Oh, no, yeah, this was the question. Healthy-ish. So yeah, like if they get both, again, if they just get OG and Randall back, I'm ready to roll with this team. I'm good with that. I love Mitch, but getting him back honestly scares me because I just don't know how Tibbs would manage that. Hawkeye 420, 30 of y'all in here, hit that like and subscribe, ring that notification bell. Yes, please do. Please hit like, subscribe, and if you so feel free to leave us a super chat. That would be much appreciated. Hawkeye 420. Show Schwinn some love. He could be with his mistress right now, but he's covering this game instead. Hit the like button. Yes. My harem with all my concubines awaits me. But I decided I needed to do a post game. No, I don't have a mistress. I do have a right hand. Knife Mahuda at Hawkeye 420. I thought today was the reevaluation. Now that he's cleared to shoot, that he can meet. Yes, that's what it does. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. Yes. So and Tibbs specified that he's cleared to shoot now, which is very, very important. John Larry was honestly surprised to see Brunson had a 27. Didn't really feel like it. Yeah, he just it never felt like he got into a flow where he made like 3 or 4 shots in a row. That's probably why. It all felt like, he'd make a shot here, maybe 2 in a row, then he'd miss 3. It's very disjointed. Oh, sorry, I meant the 2023-24 Knicks. Yes. I do think Deuce had a larger positive impact on this year's team than Grimes did. I don't care what the plus minus says. Jalen Brunson, we can be upset, pissed off the rest of today until we fall asleep tomorrow morning. We've got to be focused on the next one. Jalen Brunson says the Knicks are on to Cleveland. Sounds like a man who's on a mission to win this game by any means. Yeah, let's hope so, because they're going to need to win this game by any fucking means. Tell you that. The good thing is Josh Hart might get 35 fucking rebounds in that game, so that's good. Which struggling player do you expect to benefit the most from OG's return? Probably Bogdanovich. That would be my guess. If OG is playing at the January level, would you agree that he's more impactful than Randall? Not even Randall hate, just OG is playing that insane. Yeah, it's a weird one. I know exactly what you're saying. Like, I think yes, because even though they miss Randall's shot creation, to me, the biggest drop off over this time, where both of them, they both went out at the same time, basically, after the Heat game. OG was ruled out at shoot around of that, or during the warm up, the Charlotte game, the next game. And he hasn't played since. And obviously Randall hasn't played since. So their offense coming in tonight, and that stretch was like 13th in offensive rating. I think they were something like 28th in defensive rating. I think they've been 30th in defensive rating over their last 6. So yes, like I think OG moves that baseline, that defensive baseline, higher and more drastically than Randall would help improve the offensive baseline, to answer your question. MF, in the words of Marcus, you can never question Schwinn's love for the club. Thank you for the post games during these tough times. Look, man, these post games are like a fucking picnic compared to some of the shit we saw during the 2021-22 season. And honestly, like I wasn't doing post games back then, but some of the fucking brutal down years during the 2010s, yeah, like again, this is like a walk in the park compared to that. We 4 and 8 months back then. That was like a good month for a lot of those seasons. So take it for what it is. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody that's in here in the chat, leaving comments and everything. John Lorraine, WFAN, the host was talking Knicks postgame. He said Knicks are good, but just don't match up with elite teams like the Warriors. Just that need the star trade. It wasn't really my takeaway, but okay. Yeah, I mean, these guys are fucking idiots. The Knicks, basically, once the Knicks got OG, they were great against, what was that stat? Oh, they can't beat above 500 teams. They smoked above 500 teams. They absolutely smoked the Nuggets. They smoked Philly. They had dominant victories. I mean, they beat the absolute piss out of Miami in the game of like right when everybody got hurt, but they destroyed them. And I know Miami's on a nice run right now. I still think if the Knicks are healthy, they have more talent. Now, can Tibbs match up with Spoelstra well enough to make up to win that series? That's the $1 million question right there. I would like to think yes, because again, like with Mitch out, but with OG and Randall back, the 9-man rotation that he landed on, I thought was really good. And they were starting to just absolutely dominate teams. So hopefully they get back and we can see that team again. It was awesome. Judah Bencher, his game against the Nuggets was the most impactful defensive game I can remember in terms of putting Murray in jail and shutting off Jokic's passing lanes. Yes, dude, he owned that game. I mean, look, we got 2 days off. If you want to go and remember the good times, like Tony said, you got to savor the good times. Yeah, go back and watch that, because that game was like a fucking revelation. They destroyed them, and OG was central to that. I mean, he was dominant. What did he have, like 7 steals or something in that game? Crazy. It was ridiculous. He was amazing. I agree. That was one of the best defensive games I've seen from a player that I can remember in recent memory. Judah Bencher also says, like, I don't remember seeing a defensive player single-handedly have such a tremendous impact. By the way, I meant more in general, OG being more impactful, a good way of looking at it for that stretch. Yeah. Yeah, he was awesome in that game. All right, here we go. John Leonard, LOL, I used to like Evan Roberts, but now he's just a mega Knicks hater and can't be objective. He's just a mega Knicks hater again because he has nothing to look forward to with the Nets. That's all. It's unfortunate. The KD Kyrie dream turned into a nightmare. Sad to see. What can we do? Jordan Bell, we win this game against the Warriors with OG and Randall. We all agree with that, unless Steph Curry goes crazy. Knicks win. They'd have had a much better chance, tell you that. So, yeah. Okay, 420. A Mets and Nets fan is not where you should go to sports talk for. Yeah. Look, I definitely agree with that. And it's what it is. Again, like I think we can all sit here and be critical of various stuff after this game. Again, I don't think Tibbs coached a good game. I don't think Brunson started off the game very weird to me. He was like, I don't want to say I mean, people saying he was passive. I didn't really think he was passive. I thought he was overthinking it. Felt like he was forcing the pass when he really needed to shoot it. It's just a weird game from him. Brush it off, come back, beat Cleveland. We'd all be thrilled with that outcome. JL, is the world ready for Julius Randle playing elimination game? I know I am. I've actually mentioned this. I mentioned this to Dallas last year in our Discord. We didn't quite get to see it. Well, no, we did get to see it. I was like, I really would love to see, I just want to see what Julius Randle in an elimination game on the road looks like. Boy, did we see it. Look, he was hurt. I know people bring that up, and he was hurt, but we don't need to revisit the Randle playoff conversation. We'll see it when we see it. We'll see how it goes. Has this rough stretch changed your opinion on what kind of player Knicks should target in the draft? I don't know about the draft. I don't do draft shit anymore. That's for Prez and the other people that do this stuff. But just in general, not really. No, I thought they needed to get more talent on the perimeter. like they needed young talent in the pipeline on the perimeter, which is still where I am at with it. Like they need to get more athletic and on the perimeter. They probably need a little bit more shooting. Although I think the shooting, how it looks and feels, changes once we're healthy. So not too much. That would be my answer to that. So yeah. Turn about Buddhist winning screens or Warriors or Heat. Warriors probably do more, but the Heats feel like they're all designed to try and injure people. So pick your poison of which one you prefer. Some of Knicks Reddit, John Leary, some of Knicks Reddit wants to add Patty Mills and Marcus Morris. I think if they saw them play a little bit, they would not want to add them. That would be my guess. All right. JL, beating Cleveland shorthanded during their dream season would be the win of the season. Yes, it would be an awesome win, and it would win the season series against them. So that is nice. How long do you think this team's contending window realistically is? From John Leary, sorry. I don't have an answer for this. I could probably answer it once I see how this offseason unfolds, but if you had a gun to my head, I would say 3 to 4 years. Sure. Like, I think this is a new core of the team. My kind of belief is cores of teams have life cycles of 3 to 4 years before they need major retooling. And the Knicks kind of hit that point during this season, right? We had Quickly here for 3 years. Brunson and Randall, or Brunson had gotten here last year, but Randall has been here. This was his 5th season with the Knicks. RJ's 5th season with the Knicks. IQ's 4th. Grimes is 3rd. And obviously big changes were made. And I think they had to make. I always think they have to be made because that content, like, yeah, you can. I think Knicks maybe have their tent poles. We'll see. Randall's being a tent pole is all contingent on how he performs in the playoffs. To me, his status anyway, or at least how I view him. I can't speak for the organization, but Brunson is obviously a tent pole. I think OG will. Maybe we need to see more, but what he showed in that month, it's like, man, yeah, the injuries are the injuries, but that's a tent pole type player. At least how he fits on this roster. And if Randall can be that guy, I mean, it's however long you think those 3 guys can be viable at the top of their games. So that'd be my thing. And Hawkeye says depends on the coach. Maybe, yeah. I mean, no, not maybe. That's true. But I think there's a difference between the ability of the team and then the ability of the coach to kind of tap into that optimal upside. Jalen Brunson, how's Nick feels after tonight's game? Fantastic. Brunson missed Tuesday's game with Knicks spasms. When asked if the Knicks was a long-term concern, he responded, next question. Jordan Bubb, do you think Knicks can beat Cavs if Bulls can bring them to OT? They took them double OT and they won. Yeah, look, the Knicks can. They could have won tonight. You know, they could have won tonight. They can beat that. They can win that game. There's no reason they can't win that game. There's a world where they could have won the Celtics game. The Celtics were making. I mean, they were on fire in that game. The Knicks were lost by 14 points, sure, but like, sure, there's worlds where you can. It's the NBA. You can. We nearly lost to the fucking Pistons. Maybe we should have lost to the Pistons, right? Like, it's the NBA. Weird shit happens every single night. Every single night. So, of course. Hawkeye, your answer is a nicer answer. I'm just never going to trust Tibbs can take us further than he already has. Look, I don't trust Tibbs. I have planted my flag on, like, I don't buy Tibbs in the playoffs. I would love to be wrong because I do think there's stuff about him that's really good and impressive. Like the fact that he can get the buy-in he gets from players and all that type of stuff. And it isn't nothing that he has kind of been central to this turnaround from joke to competitive roster in the East. He's central to that. But can he take us to that next level? Is he the guy for that? I have a lot of major reservations. And honestly, games like tonight are exactly why I have those reservations. Because I don't think he can adjust on the fly the way you need to really compete at the top end. But yeah. All right. Look, I think that's I'm gonna end it there because I don't feel like we're just talking about the same shit over and over again. I appreciate everybody that was in here tonight. I know that it was an annoying loss in a lot of ways, and obviously just me in here tonight. So Appreciate everybody that rocked in here with us. Everybody that's been with us for the entire season. Really, really appreciate your support. Aside from that, hopefully the Knicks, get it going for Sunday. They can steal a win there. That'd be huge. They'd win the season series against Cleveland. And also, obviously, just to get a win again would be good. Aside from that, it is what it is. Anybody that hasn't seen Dune 2, highly recommend. Awesome movie. That made my Thursday much better than if I had not seen that and then watched this game. Awesome movie. Definitely check it out. You got 2 days before Sunday, so get it done. All right. Everybody enjoy the rest of their week until then. I will be recording Pod Strickland on Friday, tomorrow morning. So that'll drop sometime in the afternoon. And me and Knicks Tape should be doing a playback for the game on Sunday against Cleveland. So if you aren't signed up on there, sign up on there, give us a follow, jump in the room, and we'll be on there kind of shooting the shit during the game live. So cool. Looking forward to seeing everybody there. Looking forward to seeing you on future post games. Have a great rest of your night. Happy Friday, and go Knicks, and go bet online and go cut.